everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new release DC Comics Multiverse 6-inch Earth 23 Superman figure from Mattel. Now this figure comes packaged in the same style of packaging we've been seeing with all the Multiverse figures. You've got the red box with the black highlights. The figure is clearly displayed in the window box packaging, and down below you have some artwork for the character and the name. It also tells us it comes with the Collect and Connect Justice Buster figure piece. On the side of the packaging, we have some more artwork for the character and some brief statistics. And then on the back of the packaging, we have a brief bio for the Multiverse line, a look at all 6 figures that make up the Justice Buster figure, and a look at the Justice Buster itself. Now, the figures that were already released were the TV series Arrow, Flash, and Greg Capullo Joker figure, which we already reviewed. Today we're going to be looking at the new Superman figure, and then later this week we'll be taking a look at the Reverse Flash and the Batman figure, and then finally we'll take a look at that Collect and Connect Justice Buster. Okay, so let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. So here's a look at the figure outside of the packaging. Now the only accessory this figure comes with is the leg for the Justice Buster Collect and Connect figure. The figure itself, first of all, I gotta be honest, I know very little about this character. I've never read any of the comics with the character in it. I know he's from Earth 23. I know his Earth name is Calvin, and apparently on his Earth he is President of the United States, and I believe his powers for the most part are the same as the regular Superman. And he's got dark skin. But otherwise, I really know nothing about the character. I've never really seen him in the comics or anything. So the figure itself, I think, looks pretty good. I like the wash work. You've got some dark black almost wash work here in his chest area. You've got the Superman symbol, which is done with yellow and a kind of bright red on his chest with black trim. And I think that looks pretty good and clean. The belt is actually sculpted on with yellow and black. And then you've got the Superman symbol as the belt buckle. And he's also got some trim work here on his boots, which are sculpted, and on his wrist. Now I do have a little paint blemish here on his hand, but it's nothing too major. Now I will say I don't really like how the cape looks on this figure. It may be comic book accurate, I'm not really sure, but it just looks like it kind of hangs there. In fact, from the back it almost looks like he's wearing something like a rug or something, not a cape. So very smooth, very flat. You've got the black trim with a kind of darker red, but I don't like how the cape basically it doesn't come over his shoulders at all. It just kind of sits there, so it kind of hangs off to the side here. Basically the cape is attached to a hole on his back. It's glued on there, but you know, it doesn't come over his shoulders at all. So I just think that looks funny. Again, it may be comic book accurate, but I think it looks funny on the figure. The head sculpt I think is good, nice and clean. Looks pretty much like the artwork on the packaging, so no complaints with the head sculpt. The figure stands just under 6.5 inches tall. Here's a look at some other 6-inch Superman figures from Mattel. So we've got regular Superman, movie Superman, Dark Knight Superman, and a Clark Kent. And except for the Dark Knight, they're all about the same height. As a comparison of the other Multiverse 6-inch figures, the Joker, Green Arrow, and Flash. And Arrow and Flash and Superman are all about the same height. That Joker figure remains the tallest of the bunch. So articulation on this figure is pretty much on par with the other figures in the line. The head, you can look left and you can look right. Doesn't have a whole lot of up or down movement with the head. Arms attached with the standard ball hinge joint so he can get his arm out good. And he's got pretty good rotation. The cape limits a little bit, but not too much. You can still rotate it pretty good. He does have a bicep swivel. He's got a single hinged elbow, so he can bend his elbow about that much. He's got swivels at the wrists, but no hinges on the hands. He has an ab crunch type joint, but he really can't crunch down at all. That's all he can crunch down. He can look back a little bit. He's got a waist swivel. Legs are attached with those standard side hinge joints like we see on all the Mattel figures. He can do the splits pretty good. He can get his leg forward good, and he can do his leg back pretty good. He does have a thigh swivel right above the knee. Single hinge knee, so he can bend his knee about that much. No boot cuff swivel. He has hinges on the feet, so he's got up and down movement, but no pivot. And 2 peg holes on the bottom of his feet. So that's my review. Overall, I would say this is not too bad of a figure. Very obscure character. really one I'm not terribly familiar with at all, but if you are a fan of this character, then this is probably a figure that you'll want to add to your collection. And of course, if you want to get that Justice Buster, you'll probably want to get it for the Collect and Connect piece. So this figure is out on shelves now. We'll have a full gallery of images up at toynewseye.com. There's a link in the description below. And as always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you later.